A woman in a cream coat blocked him at the door, told him deliveries go around back. He was not delivering anything. He was there for his daughter. What that woman did not know, the man she just turned away had quietly paid for a third of the children in that building to be there at all. Drop a comment right now and tell us where in the world you are watching from. And if you are not yet subscribed to Turning Point Tales, hit that subscribe button now. Ashford Preparatory Academy sat on 12 acres of manicured lawn, the kind of school where the parking lot looked like a car showroom. Marcus Reilly's truck did not belong there. Dusty, dented on one side, still smelling faintly of engine oil. His daughter Emma had earned her spot at Ashford on a merit scholarship, one of 11 kids in her grade who had not paid full tuition. Vanessa Cole made sure everyone knew which 11. Not cruelly, not directly. Just a comment here about families like that. Just a comment there about how generous the school was being this year. Small enough to deny, big enough for the right children to hear. Marcus ran 3 auto shops now, built from one rented garage 15 years ago. He still worked the floor most days, hands in engines instead of behind a desk. He liked it that way. Nobody at Ashford knew what his bank account looked like because he had never once mentioned it. Not to the front office, not to the other parents, not even to Emma, until she was old enough to understand why it mattered that he hadn't. There was a reason. Growing up, his family did not have much. A teacher quietly covered his school fees for 2 years and never told him. He found out as an adult, going through her things after she was gone. She never wanted thanks for it. He never forgot that, and when the shop started making real money, he decided he would rather be that teacher than be thanked like one. That morning, he promised Emma he would be there for her violin solo, no matter what. A transmission came apart at 11 a.m. He fixed it himself so he would not have to send someone else, then drove straight to the school in the same jacket he had put on at 6 that morning. He did not own a suit that fit him anymore. He never needed one at the shop. He was not going to start needing one today. He was just there to see his daughter play. Vanessa let him in eventually, with a sigh that suggested she was doing him a favor, and a glance at his boots that suggested otherwise. He found a seat in the back row, hands folded, waiting. Around him, other parents talked about summer homes and college counselors. He did not join in. Nobody asked him to. When Emma's name was called, she walked to the front. Navy blazer, violin under her chin. She played. Marcus watched every second of it like nothing else in the room existed. When she hit the final note, the room applauded. He was the loudest one clapping. For a moment, nobody seemed to notice or care that he was there. That changed the second he stood up. He started toward the front to hug her. That is when Vanessa intercepted him in the aisle, one hand raised like she was stopping traffic. She said, "Sir, I don't know how you got back in here. This is a private reception, parents only." Her voice carried further than she probably intended. Heads turned. Marcus said, "I'm her father." Vanessa laughed, short and disbelieving. She said, "Emma Reilly's father works at a garage. I'm quite certain he doesn't dress like this his casual Friday." A few parents laughed. Not everyone, but enough. Emma froze at the front of the room, still holding her violin. Her face went pale, then red, the particular red a 10-year-old gets when she understands exactly what is happening and does not yet have the words to stop it. Marcus did not raise his voice. He never did. He said, "I came straight from the shop. I didn't want to be late for her." Vanessa said, "How considerate," already turning back toward the other parents. Done with him. He could have let it go. He almost did. He had been underestimated in rooms like this before, and mostly he let people believe what they wanted to believe. It cost him nothing. But Emma was still standing at the front, violin in one hand, watching to see what he would do. For her sake, this time, he did not sit back down. He said, "I'd like to see my daughter now, if that's all right." Vanessa turned, visibly irritated that he had not simply absorbed the correction and left. She said, "This really isn't the time to—" That is when Emma spoke, not loudly, just clearly enough that the room went quiet to hear a 10-year-old say it. She said, "He's not late for anything, Mrs. Cole. He's early for everything. He just doesn't tell people what he does when he's not fixing cars. Vanessa turned back toward her, amused now instead of irritated, the way adults get when they think a child has said something cute instead of something true. She said, "And what exactly does your father do, sweetheart?" Emma looked at her father, unsure if she was allowed to say it. He gave her the smallest nod. She said, "You should ask Mrs. Whitfield." Mrs. Whitfield had been standing near the piano the entire time, watching, arms folded, saying nothing, until now. She stepped forward, and the room's attention shifted to her. She said, "Since we're asking, I'll answer that." She turned to face the room. She said, 6 years ago, an anonymous donor established the Ashford Founders Scholarship. It now funds full tuition, books, and activity fees for 11 students in this school." She paused. She said, "Including Emma. And including your daughter's 2 closest friends, Mrs. Cole, Sophia Marsh, and Diego Ruiz." Vanessa's smile faltered. Mrs. Whitfield said, "The donor asked to remain anonymous. He has honored that request every single year, quietly, without so much as a plaque in the hallway. I only know because I sign the paperwork myself every August, and every August he asks me the same thing, to keep his name out of it." She looked directly at Marcus. She said, "Mr. Reilly, would you like me to keep it that way, or has that ship sailed?" The room turned toward him as one. Marcus exhaled, the breath a man lets out when a choice he made years ago finally catches up with him in public. He said, "Ship's sailed, I think." A ripple went through the room, the sound of 24 people quietly recalculating something at once. Someone near the back murmured, "Wait, the Founders Scholarship? That's him?" Vanessa's hand, still raised from moments earlier, slowly lowered to her side, as though it had only just remembered it was still up. She said, "That's," then stopped. She looked at Marcus's jacket again, as if it might explain itself differently this time. It didn't. Still just a work jacket, on a man who never needed it to say anything else on his behalf. She said, quieter now, "I didn't know." Marcus said, "I know. That was kind of the point." Nobody laughed this time. Diego's father walked over and shook Marcus's hand without a word, the kind of handshake that says more than a sentence could. Sophia's mother caught his eye across the room and mouthed a simple thank you, years overdue, finally spoken, even silently. Another parent murmured something like an apology on Vanessa's behalf. She did not correct it. For the first time all evening, she did not have anything to add. Marcus did not stay to enjoy any of it. He was not interested in being watched, and he never built the fund to be thanked for it. He crossed to the front of the room instead, crouched down in front of Emma so they were eye to eye, and straightened the collar of her blazer, gone crooked sometime in the last few minutes, without either of them noticing. He said, "You played beautifully today." Emma said, "You're not mad I told them?" Marcus said, "No. I'm proud of you. Not for what you said, for how you said it. Calm. True. No need to shout it. That's harder than shouting. Most grown-ups in this room still haven't learned it." She smiled at that, the first full smile since the whole thing started, and slipped her hand into his. They walked out past the parents still finding their footing, past Vanessa still standing frozen near the piano, past the cream coats and the luxury cars, toward a dusty truck that had never once needed to prove anything to anybody. On the drive home, Emma asked him why he had never told her before. He thought about it for a while. He said, "Because the moment people know, they start treating you differently. Better, usually, but different. I wanted you to grow up around people who liked you for you, not for what your father could write a check for." She said, "Did it work?" He glanced at her in the mirror and smiled. He said, "Mostly, until tonight." Behind them, back in that room, the parents sat with what they had just learned. The man they nearly turned away at the door had been quietly holding up a third of it, every single year, never once asking for a single thing in return. Not gratitude, not recognition, just a seat in the back row, close enough to watch his daughter play. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and subscribe to Turning Point Tales. We will see you in the next one.